Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome, everyone, to the weekly show. That's right, the show that I do usually every Friday, unless I'm traveling for an event or something like that. And this is a patron exclusive show. Now, before we get started, I need to make sure that I give a huge shout out to my patron community. It is the patron community that allows me to make content. And I have been doing and making content full time since 2018. It is 2026. I've been doing it for half a decade, over half a decade, and it would not be possible without the Denizen community. The link is down below if you want to hop on and help me make content. I try to make as much content as I can free, weekly battle reports, going on different podcasts, traveling around the world, tournament reviews, developing lists, trying to bring you some entertainment, some knowledge, whatever that you get from me playing games full-time, coaching, etc. So, thank you, patrons. And if it weren't for you, I couldn't do what you want. And anybody who's watching this for free, because I've opened this up to the world as the first show of 2026, you get all this content thanks to my patron community, who literally pays the bills for me. So I just need to take a moment to say thank you to everybody who can. I think there's like 5 tiers, from like $3 a month all the way to $700 a month. Depending on the perks and coaching and stuff like that. But thank you. Now, the weekly show is a show where it's divided into a couple of sections. Number one, I ramble for about 10-15 minutes, and I talk about things that matter to me in the hobby, what I'm working on, things that are coming up, the schedule, that sort of stuff. Then we hop into the Q&A, section where patrons get to submit questions every time I do a show. There's a special little thing in the Discord where folks can post questions. I compile them all. I go over them. We discuss it. We talk about it. It's just how it works. And then we go into the coveted list crunch. And the list crunch is a list clinic for usually Warhammer 40k, but Scourge, Trueborn, Incubi, and Super Elite tiered patrons can submit an army every time I do a show. I'll read it, give you my thoughts, and you can tap into, it's like a list clinic. I'll give you some tips and tricks and thoughts, and hopefully that helps you develop a better army list for Warhammer 40k. And that's the gist of it. This is episode 13 of season 4. This is the 4th season of the show. And I'm really excited to get started. And hello to everybody in chat. Thank you so much for coming out to say hi. Fred's Alliance. Yes, very excited. TGX is a team event that I am playing this weekend. It is an event I think I missed last year, and maybe even the year before because I was so busy. But this year, I get to go to it. I'm very, very excited. I've even done some work on the classic Archon Skari. Gave him a soul trap, painted up the soul trap. I've fixed his cape. So the cape, I put some extra work on getting the cape, rebased him, so he's on a 32 mil base. I also I'm working on Archon Sepsis, which is the snake Archon that Dustin entrusted to me together with the Tantalus when he decided to sort of move away from the Dark Eldar and focus on other things. But Archon Sepsis himself, the snake, which is really cool. So I've got him based up and ready to go as well. I'm really pumped to try out. I've got Cabalite Cartel I'm running. But yes, really super fun. Hopefully our teams do get to face off. Hello, Animal. What's going on? Falls right. Astravale, what's going on? A live stream. Yeah, that's kind of how I do it. Federico says, hi, Skari. Would love to know if you agree with the statement, quote, Cabalite Warriors are overpriced 115 points. Because it's a common statement I've seen in the forums. They are, but even at that cost, I still will bring a squad pretty much every time. Because they're like still overcosted, but I think they're indispensable. Wasabi, hey Mark, what's going on? Hello, Sly, Tiny Typo, Caldor, Richard, good evening. Dafonso, what's going on? Feliz año, un saludo. Conquest Hobbies, good morning. What's going on? My contribution to Skari's content is encouraging to play bad armies. Like, what? They're not even a real faction, are they? Agents of the Imperium? Come on. Good morning. Happy New Year, Synth. Happy New Year to everybody. Thanks. Yeah, it's been awesome. Hold the phone. Did someone let Skari out of the basement? I am in my basement. Pretty sure this is my basement. How do you know, Mark? Good morning, Cigar, Foz. Hi, denizens. Yeah, it's okay if you're late. No problem. Brimstone. Dang, those look really cool. Thank you. Argon Skari looking good. The model is looking good too. Thanks. You know, I did get a haircut. You know, since I'm gonna be doing some tournaments, got to look presentable. I was starting to get wings on my hair, like it's crazy. What detachment should someone new to Drukhari lean into? If you're new to Drukhari, I highly recommend a Reaper's Wager or Real Space Raid. It's like it allows you to build like some balanced lists, have a little bit of everything, give you some toolkits. But Cabalite Cartel and Spectacle are the strongest, I would say, right now, with Spectacle being the strongest. Reaper's Wager being more consistent than Cabalite Cartel, but Cabalite Cartel has like the higher damage output, and I think will be more robust, historically speaking. Like moving forward, I feel like a Cabalite Cartel style of list will have a longer shelf life than Spectacle. But then again, I could be wrong. I've been practicing with Real Space Raid, tried Cabalite Cartel, forgot like half my list was which units. Maybe not the best idea. Yeah, I have 2 units of Reaver Jet Bikes and 2 Chronos in my Cabalite Cartel list. So like, and a couple of Venoms and a Raider, or a couple of Venoms, which just don't participate in the Cab Cartel stuff. Let me believe we have a codex, so it counts. Yeah, that's fair enough. Just don't tell the Demons players, that's funny. Hola, Azael. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing very well, thank you, Azael. I hope you are doing well. If you're all here in chat, you know, listening to the show, make sure you leave a like, comment, and share it with your friends. It means a lot, really helps the channel grow. So thank you so much for everybody. I hope you're having a good year. So what is your New Year resolution? So that's kind of like what I wanted to talk about. Not necessarily resolutions. I'm not really big on like grand gestures when it comes to resolutions and stuff. But I do like sort of like, you know, this new year, I kind of talked about it a little bit, but my goal this year is to consolidate and flesh out sort of like the patron content. That's my goal. So my goal is to sort of like make the patron, like the patron a little bit meatier, right? Trying to get more on a schedule. As if anybody's noticed, while I was traveling last year, I put up a bat rep every other week a lot of the time because of the fact that I was so busy. But now that I'm back on a regular recording schedule, I'm not traveling as much. As you can see, I've been trying to put out a battle report every week, which is what I have normally done over the last 14 years of running the YouTube channel. So I hope you can see that. I'm also thinking that the battle report army lists, because folks love seeing the list that we use for the bat reps. I'm going to be posting them, scheduling to be posted like on Tuesdays or Wednesdays before the battle report comes out, instead of like the Friday, the same day, which is what I've been doing. Because right now Friday is like really condensed with like a lot of content on Friday. And then I've got a lot of the narrative stuff that I post is on Thursdays for patrons. And that tends to be content that's behind a paywall for like mini wargaming. Because if I'm in a video that I do for mini wargaming or any other channel, it will go to my patrons. Which is really funny because I hope you don't mind that I'm giving you extra content for no cost. But it's, you know, I guess I've had a patron unsubscribe because they're like, I don't want narrative content, so I'm gonna unsubscribe. I'm like, it was just extra. It's not like I changed how much competitive content I've been doing. But if you get insulted by me putting narrative content, just warning you, every Thursday there's sometimes some narrative content. Okay. But as for now, so I'm trying to make that a little meatier. Of course, Mondays I film. Tuesdays I do calls most of the time and do like coaching games. Wednesdays I film in the evenings at Mini Wargaming. And then Fridays I do this show, and then I basically have calls all day. But and do like coaching calls and whatnot. Anyway, super fun. Other than that, what else have I been working on? So yeah, that was really fun. I'm really excited to bring out OG Archon Skari out finally. Now that he's rebased and um, and armed appropriately. He has a Venom Blade, but you know, Venom Blade can now be a Power Sword or a Husk Blade, right? Because they don't have access to a Venom Blade, which is kind of cool. So it's converted enough that way. I love that I did the cloak. You know what I mean? Like I put some extra love on the cloak because it was all chipped because he's an old metal model. So I just put some extra love on the cloak and stuff. And yeah, anyway, it just looks. He looks. I freaking love this Skari model. This is like my classic Skari model. So he's gonna be coming out to play, and he has my Webway Owl. How do you pronounce that, by the way? Owl, Webway Owl, Owl. But yeah, let's go into the chat quick. Resolution is 4K Ultra HD. Nice. My resolution is finish painting my Imperial Agents. I'm meticulous on choosing paint schemes, and it stops me from actually starting to paint. That can be an issue. I've always subscribed to the version of just put paint on it, which is AKA just get it done. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just put paint on it. Cigar says, my goal is to play more 40K than last year. Tight with a job and 3 kids. I have 1 kid. I hear ya. Love from China. Hello, Yushen Wang. Thank you so much. I just have 4 wins, 1 draw last weekend with Sisters of Spectacles Spite in Beijing. Nice. 2nd place. Fantastic. Congratulations. Well done. Wish you have a good luck at your next event. That's this weekend. Team event, though. So, very nice. I love practicing team events. My goal is to actually start hitting up some GTs around me, not just local RTTs. Like to attend 4 to 6 this year, especially in the hypothetical 11th edition. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Mine is to win an event, says Brimstone. You got it. 1 game at a time, Mr. Brim. Sly, New Year's goal, to try tournaments properly. Small ones to start. Hoping to take Drukhari since I've gotten more into them since the end of last year. You know what the solution to that is? Go to a tournament. Yep. Going to a tournament is a great solution to go to tournaments. Phlegm. Just got here. What did I miss? Lots of stuff. I rambled. I promoted the Patreon page. And then we talked about things that I painted. All. Yeah, okay. Owl, like all. Webway all. I guess that's how it's pronounced. Good old English. My resolution is to repaint both my armies. Nice. It's just all if you use English. Ah. Well, I assume I'm using English. Unless I'm using weird English. Hello there, Robbie. What's going on? Just in from work. Finished off with the gaming club, showing some teens how to use an airbrush to do a starscape painting and set down block and some base colors on boys. Nice. It's good. I'm glad you're teaching folks how to paint. Ian Ramirez. I ended up with 25 incubi. In which detachment do you think they would be the most fun to try? So if I were to do an army with a bunch of incubi, I would do either Sky Splinter or Cabalite Cartel, which I think would be the 2 detachments that really give them the best sort of like chance to do the most amount of damage and benefit the most from the detachment rule. That's kind of where my brain would be at. Those are some great questions, chat. Let's, if you'd be using American English, it's almost 2 different languages. That is also very true. Although my language is like weird English that is an amalgamation of 3 or 4 different types of English, from the Queen's English, which is like BBC English, as my dad likes to call it. It was like an unregionalized Queen's English, all the way to American English or Canadian English, because I've been in Canada 20 years now. Yeah. Kevin, looking forward for a team event in Quebec and Ontario, and maybe play against you and improve from last year. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be really cool. That big 20 team event in Quebec just this weekend, and then there's a 20 some team event or 16 to 20 team event that I'm going to. There's so many team events. It's like folks really enjoy playing with their friends, like in a team. I don't know about you, but that's like it's just a very fun vibe way to play a Warhammer tournament where you just go with your friends and play. It's the King's English now. I guess that's true. Let's dive into the Patreon questions. So, Brimstone asks, "Hello, Mr. Skari. Hello. Good morning. I've joined a team for a team event later this year, and it'll be my first time playing in that format. Do you have any advice or things I should focus on to prepare?" Yes. The most important thing to do in a team environment is to understand whether or not a game is going to be easy for you or hard for you. And to know that it is okay to make that known. One of the biggest pitfalls that I see new sort of folks that are getting into the Team 40K environment is they think everything is a yellow, as in like, I could win or lose any game. That's not what you want, and it's not useful for teams. If a game, knowing that a game is either good, bad, or ugly is massively important. And you should be able to tell your team or the person who's doing pairings to be like, this is a game that I don't want to play because I know things could go wrong very quickly. And you have to sort of state that with like a yellow, arena red, or an orange. So it's much better if you have, say, a matrix filled out, which is like, a matrix with all the different teams you're going to play against of your opposing team and your teams, where you put like, don't put yellows on everything. Don't be like, I could win or lose any game. No, like if you don't want to play something, be like, would be an annoying game to play or whatever, just make it a red. Like actually give your pairing person something to work with. And that's something that I learned. It took me a long time to learn that. So use that, right? So that's what I would recommend is know what you're good at, right? Know what you're designed for and hunt those things. Like put them like, yes, give me this. Put it green. Like I want to play against this. And some yellows are fine, being like, it's fine, it's a game of Warhammer. But like if you know it's gonna be an annoying game based on the mission, based on the matchup, like make sure you let that known. And don't just put a bunch of yellows. Cornfields are terrible. And that's basically the main thing that I recommend. And that comes from practice. You just need to play against a lot of things. So whatever army you're thinking of taking, play against a lot of things and know what your army is good at and what it's not good at. That's the hard part in team event, is you need to have a good self-reflection of what you're good at or not. Comprehend 14 languages as long as it's English. That's false. Nice. It's better to know you could lose a team's game than say you can cope. Yes, exactly. There's something to be said for knowing your own mentality. Are you the type of player who can cope with being thrown under the bus? With lose without tilting? Correct. You have to have a fantastic poker face to be that person who gets thrown under the bus. And it tends to be a very good idea to send someone that is very experienced at the game into that sort of situation, especially if they can just maintain their cool and don't freak out their team. Because the last thing you want is to like walk away from the pairing tables and like your team to visibly show that they're like frustrated at what happened. Like you don't want that. You need to keep that psychological aspect really, really tight. So no Dark Eldar for me, Brims. Exactly. Like it's okay in a team event to be like, no, do not put me in a Dark Eldar unless it's absolutely necessary. Like worst case scenario, like just red, hard avoid. Don't put me in it. Right? Cornfields are the best. Red, 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 red. Moving on. Flowers asks, what will Chaos Space Marines do now for a deep strike threat now that Raptors' role kind of changed? What did their role change to? They still have deep strike, don't they? And I don't think they were ever a good deep strike threat anyway. Do you still see them being the main deep striker even when points increase? Raptors are not the main deep striker at all. Raptors are the kind of unit you put on the table, and they're a harassment unit like jump pack intercessors. Your deep strike threat is like your warp talons and potentially obliterators. Other than that, like you're rarely deep striking anything. Warp talons are like the thing to deep strike. So that's the answer to this question. What are the roles? It's just warp talons. Warp talons are amazing. Use warp talons. Get sold on warp talons. They are your deep striking threat, in my opinion. And then raptors, yeah, they got some extra weapons and stuff like that, so they got a little bit more of a flexible. They're more of a flex pick. They're like JPI. They're supposed to be used like JPI. They're fast, maneuverable, relatively inexpensive for what you get. For something you can go out and play and skirmish in like turn 2, turn 3. You can go threaten something a little bit further away. But your main deep strike threat is a warp talons, but you're still deploying your warp talons, usually, depending on what you're playing against, to go fight something, kill something, leave the table, and then be a constant rapid ingress threat for the rest of the game, right? Because that's just a non-interactive, unit, which is very strong. 25 raptors in Nightmare Hunt is funny. Nice. No, they were pretty awful for damage. Now they look pretty strong, but 5-man's a little pricey. Yeah, they were pretty awful for damage, but they were still like, people use them to run around, and they didn't really use them. Like people, like the role is like people didn't use raptors. Maybe the odd opportunity they take like bikes instead, or like something else to do actions with, right? But now they can actually hit, right? So you'll actually see them. So the role will be very similar to what JPI are used in Space Marines armies. Bikes over raptors any day. Now raptors solid option for a lot of attachments. Good. What is the Dark Eldar play into Vitrix? Says Neymar. Just kill them. They're Space Marines. They have a 2-up save and 3 wounds. They die super. They die. They're just Space Marines. They're about the same to kill as like one of those units of champions of the company or whatever, and I never had issues killing them. Just go in and murder them. Grenade, right? Tank shock, and then a bunch of poison guns, or dark lances. They're just instantly dead. Yeah, Sly Guy, that works really well. Petal Warfare asks, after playing at Glass City GT with my cartel list, what are your opinions when you play Scorched Earth going first on layout 4? What deployment? Like, what tools do we dig out on our opponent if they don't have to interact with you? So yeah, with Scorched Earth, you don't really have to like interact because you can just hold 1, hold 2. The key is just to stop them from holding 2. Like, you have to be the aggressor if you're going first in that sort of mission, because if you do nothing, they will score a bunch of points at the end of the game. They'll be able to like burn something. Now, layout 4 is really open in the middle. But like if you can get something into the middle and burn the middle objective, or start burning the middle, like I'd probably put a Chronos out in the middle and be like, I'm gonna start burning. It forces your opponent to put enough out in the open that they have to shoot the Chronos or charge the Chronos, or put something in the middle to stop the Chronos from burning the middle objective early in the game. And then just make sure your Scourges and your units are ready to sort of pounce on your opponents that have to like come out and do something about it. Now with Cabalite Cartel, it's a little easier because you could put like a Cabalite squad out there and just go, and just lone up it. Be like, you have to get within 18 now, so you're forcing people to come in and closer to you, to like, because you could do the lone up to force them to shoot you, right? Which then makes it even harder for your opponent to just play a cagey game. And then, of course, if you can do that, it forces your opponent to really like come out and play. So if you can deny them to a 5, right, 2 or 3 turns, and then burn one of the objectives, especially the middle one, and then just hold your home, like then it flips it, and then it forces them to do something about it. So it takes a little bit of practice to understand how to flip the dynamic and pacing of a game like that. But if you play 2KG, they're in the advantage. So you have to sort of take a little bit of a risk to force the dynamic of the mission to flip, where now they're the ones trying to catch up to you instead of you trying to catch up to them, because they have the end game. It's a dance, that you're kind of playing. Crispy asks, How do you use fast attack glass cannon units like Attilan Rough Riders? I can't seem to trade well with them. Also, I'm trying my Bulgrin list, but seems to either play them too defensively or push them too aggressively, and hanging them out to be killed by shooting. Can't seem to trade well with them. Okay, so first one is a question. How do you use fast attack glass cannon units like Rough Riders? So I would use them more in a counter attack unit, like a counter attack way. So what I'd do is I'd use my shooting, my Kasserkin, my Lehman Russes, and I'd kind of push up. Same with Bulgrin. Like I'd kind of use units like Chimeras, Hellhounds, like units of infantry to sort of get into position and force my opponent to commit, to come in, get close, shoot, fight, like charge to get me off objectives. And that's where the Rough Riders would come into play, or the Bulgrin, as like a counter punch unit, because then they stay in the open and then they get shot to death or whatever, which is fine, but you have to sort of make sure that they did something before getting into the position that they're in right now. So if you can like force your opponent to commit by using, I don't know, a Sentinel on objective, or a Chimera with Kasserkin inside, or I don't know, a Chimera with Catechins, or whatever it is, and then, or a big unit of infantry, and you put them on objective, your opponent commits to killing it, and then you have your counterattack unit of Rough Riders and or Bulgrin that then come in and push that opponent off that objective, or kill that unit, or if your unit survived, they kind of like get involved and then can stage and create a screen for your unit, etc. Then they get shot to death. Like, it's the key is don't just run them out somewhere and or go out and kill something that's disadvantageous for you. It's like you have to force your opponent to send resources to you and then kill them, and then put yourself in a position where now they're spending resources to take you off before they can then try to push you off again, right? It's like an activation economy thing as well. Tiny says, if I recall correctly, the deployment in Glass was search and destroy for Scorched Earth. Yeah, search and destroy. It's like a very, so table quarters, right? So you have to push up to try and create some hammer and anvil, right, to create your two. And then the middle is really close by. And then you're just trying to deny their expansion objective with what you have, which is why I have Reaver jet bikes in my list, even in Cavalite Cartel. Like I have 2 units of Reaver jet bikes, so I can fly a Reaver jet bike unit up a couple of turns and be like, okay, turn 1, I don't need to be on anything. Turn 2, you got onto your home. Okay, jet bikes go over, contested, right? Turn 3, you get on again, contested again. So turn 2, turn 3, I contested your points. So now you get 10 points on turn 4, and a maximum of 15 on turn 5 with a burn, right? So that's like, so now I've taken you down from, if you get 5 and 5, that's 10, and then 15 is 25, plus, so you get 30 points max on primary, right? And if I can get my 10 turn 2, 10 turn 3, 10 turn 4, and then 10 turn 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, I get 40 points. I'm 10 points up on you on primary, even if you burn and score max on the end of the turn, right? So there's like the mathematics of Scorched Earth, or where I will beat you, if that makes sense. Hey, Dark Joe, what's going on? Thanks for coming to hang out. Danny Cod asks, I have a teams tournament at the end of the month. Which Necrons detachment do you think we could see the most? Ooh, I think Star Shatter is still going to be amazing. I think Star Shatter is still going to be probably the most competitive with Catan and a King. Because a King making all the Catan faster, and then the reactive move on the Catan, like shooting the Nightbringer and it reactive moving D6 inches closer to you, you know, things like that is just wild. It's what I took to Canhammer team tournament last year. I took Necrons. I took Catan and Necrons, right? And I took Star Shatter Necron Catan, and it was awesome. It just feels like cheating when you get to play Necrons at that level. It just feels like cheating because you're just shoving monsters in people's faces, and they can either kill them or they can't. But in a team event, you can try and avoid all the armies that will just kill your Catan, and so you can just bully people. And it just feels like cheating the whole time because it's like my opponent just physically can't do anything. Or I lose a Catan too quickly, and then I just lose, right? Like, there's no middle ground. I'm great, by the way, Darkja. Thanks for asking. Cryptek Conclave scares me. Canoptic Wraiths having 18 shots with anti-infantry 3+ dev wounds with Catans behind is such a stat check. Yes, I like the Cryptek Conclave as well. Like advance and shoot and all the cool stuff that they have. Yes, definitely very good. It's then again, against Dark Eldar, 18 shots with anti-infantry 3+ from Wraiths, like, sure. They were going to kill a 5 Witch squad unit with those pistols, regardless of whether they have dev wounds or not. Like, it doesn't matter if they have, like, dev wounds. I'm just going to... The unit is dead anyway. So it doesn't... Like, the damage output for Cryptek Conclave against me as a Dark Eldar player doesn't matter, because it's the same matchup as if it was 18 Wraiths. It's just the Wraiths themselves would be terrible to play against as a Dark Eldar player. So I wouldn't waste my breath on it. If that makes sense. But Danny, like, I can see that. Star Shatter with that. I could see Star Shatter. I could see the Canoptic stuff, which can be very popular. And I do like the Destroyer one. I think those are the three. And of course, Awakened. Like, you're probably still going to see Awakened because there's just a ton of value in just bringing characters back to life. You know what I mean? You know, and you've got, like, all the new characters and stuff is really cool. Just want to mass Scorpack plus Locust. Yeah, that also works too. Necrons went from being C tier to mid A. I don't think like tier lists are so stupid. I hate them so much because it's not about the army itself, it's about the player. Like, you could give a C tier, sure, Necron army to somebody who knows what they're doing, and it's a B plus to A army in their hands. It doesn't, like, the army itself is very irrelevant. It's mainly about skill set. Like, skill set has way more bearing on how important, like, you should tier list players rather than, like, tier list armies. I think that would be more accurate, personally. But yes, Necrons got some really good options, which makes them more relevant in the current meta, where they have a lot more tools for a player to play into a lot of different things in the meta, right? Which I think is very, very, very important as well. Would you like to see Hellions and Reavers in a Kabalite Cartel list, or drop the Hellions and take more of the Cartel stuff? And what do you think do with Lilith? Well, Sly Guy, that's a great question. I'm going to be going over my Kabalite Cartel list that I'm taking to I'm going to go over my Kabalite Cartel list I'm taking to TGX at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. I'm in Necron's moods, and I've been playing 40k Mechanicus a lot. Nice. Necrons are fun. I enjoy them. I have an award that says I'm the best Necron player in the world from 2024? 2023? Yeah, I was the best Necron player in the world, baby. Let's go. Tier list players, not armies. Quote. You can quote that. Nerf Skari, not Drukhari. Exactly. You can quote me on that. Tier list only means anything between two players of equal skill who play 100 games versus each other a month. It doesn't. Exactly. And even then, it wouldn't matter because then you still have dice involved. Art of War says Custodius C, but I'm totally on an S, baby. That's right. That's the spirit, Brim. That is, you make your meta, right? That's, if you want to be a good 40k player, you're making the meta. That's the whole point. You have to carve the meta out. You're the one that's making the list that's going to be the list to play. That's the whole point. Well, that's what I heard on Art of War. Yeah, I know. I'm just riffing on the fact that everybody does a tier list, and I love the crew. They're very knowledgeable, very smart. But it is a feeling. Like, I feel if I were playing this army, like when you're doing a tier list, it's like I feel like I would do well or bad, or I feel like I have all the tools I need. So with them going to A tier, like the folks that put it in that list feel that if they were to play it, they would have the tools they need to compete at that level, if that makes sense. Got to fight something robot or in Troy. I don't speak emotes. I just think I have an issue with wanting to take an all-around fun, good units, but then forget they don't interact with my detachment at times. Yes, that is something where that's a game design balance. Like, if you want to take an army and, like, take a unit, like, for example, I've been running, what is it, these guys, right? My flame, I've been painting my Black Templar Flamey Marines. And usually they're fine. I just take them for the battle shock mechanic. But I'm really looking at this like drop pod detachment or deep strike detachment, where I could put them in a drop pod and then they get reroll 1s to wound, and that'd be kind of cool. You know, it's like little things like that as well. Shirato says, just want to thank you for your videos. As I started playing Drukhari recently, Enactment Gauntlet Crusade. Awesome. Crusade, by the way, one of the most fun ways you can play Warhammer in. Now trying to figure out if I want Cartel or Spectacle in Armageddon. Ooh. Well, the cool thing about Crusade is you just build a list, like with whatever armies you want, and then depending on the game you play, you pick a detachment and build a list with that detachment. So you could have a list that has everything, and then based on the game you're playing, you could just be like, ooh, today I'm going to play Cartel. Today I'm going to play, you know, Spectacle, whatever it is. Drop 3 Redeemers. three Deep Strike Redeemers. That reminds me of the old Deep Striking Blood Angel Land Raiders from, was it 4th or 5th edition? Like, which was unheard of. You could, like, Deep Striking Land Raiders, which was so fun. I'm painting my Wraith Lords. Ooh, that's cool. I like the new transport detachment for Salamanders. Yeah, there's some really cool detachments, but it can be overwhelming to find something you like. So it's more of those things that play the units that you like and find a detachment that fits those units, I think is probably the best way to build something that you vibe with. And it definitely has good synergy. So, moving on. Da Boss asks, do you have any, quote, New Year's resolutions for the channel, community, etc.? I did touch on this a little bit, but I'll reiterate. So, for the channel, I want to hit 40,000 subscribers. So we're on our way, so thank you so much for everybody who subscribed to the channel. It'd be cool to have 40,000 subscribers when I play Warhammer 40,000, right? That'd be kind of neat. Be like a nice little milestone for me. I'm not the biggest channel. I've been around for a very long time, but I don't have the hundreds of thousands of subscribers that say Tabletop Tactics or Play on Tabletop has. But that's okay, because I'm a very faction specialist style. I play every army. I coach people on any army because I know how to play Warhammer. I know how to play all the factions, but I definitely am known for playing Drukhari, right? Even when I post my Black Templars online, they're like, Black Templars? When did that happen? I'm like, dude, Black Templars are like my original army. I started playing Black Templars when I was 12 years old. I'm going to be 39 in, make note, okay, because I'm not going to repeat myself. 1, 2, 3, 4. In 5 days, it is my birthday. And I expect all of you to give me a present by subscribing to the Patreon. But yes, so that's, like, for the channel, 40k subscribers would be great. I want to do more of the tactical videos, so I'm going to be trying to do the Tactical Tuesdays videos. So the Super Elite tier gets to commission a video every month that I get to do. So the first one went out like this past Tuesday, which was it's a tactical insight on how to play the early game with Spectacle of Spite. So it's like just breaking down deployment in turn 1 with Spectacle of Spite to set yourself up for success. But I'm going to try and do that either every other week or every week. And then, of course, that's like for specific patron tiers. And then I want to do some more like short form tactical stuff, like go through each mission and put some stuff out for free as well, so that all of you can enjoy some like tactical thought process, and thinking, and just get some discussion going. But for the community, like my community, the Denizen community, it's about providing more value for being a patron and getting involved in the community, because we do leagues. We have Meadows running the casual 40k league. He's also running the Crusade, so huge shout out to Meadows, who's been doing all that stuff in the Discord for years now. So huge shout out to Meadows. Thank you so much. And for everybody who participates in the TTS campaign, like the Crusade, the TTS leagues, we're just finishing up our 4th season league. And this time we had a Champions League where we had all the previous winners of leagues, which have like a special tag in the Discord, and they were in their own little Champions League where they got to play. It was 10 players, 4 rounds, and they're playing for like the Champion of Champions, which is awesome. And so that's going to continue. So that's finishing in a week and a half, and then we're going to have like a week or 2, and then we're going to start another patron league as well, where we have different leagues for different time zones. and then we'll go from there. It's like super fun, and it's very varied because folks play 2 Games Workshop missions layouts, 1 WTC layout, and 1 UKTC layout. So it forces you to sort of play on different formats. And if you lose a game, you can always just change your list. So you can't change your faction, you're locked into faction. But say you play a game and you lose that game, you can always re-up your list for the next game. So you're never stuck with a list that you don't like or things like that either. So, and if there's ever new rules that come out, everybody gets to change their list because we don't play with old Hammer, we play with current Hammer. Anyway. Congrats to you. It's mine today. Well, happy birthday. Well, like, congratulations. I will, a candle on a cake for you. Subs twice in a row, says Dark Jack. Thank you. Builds a different, like, account with a different email to subscribe twice. Not the biggest 40k channel, just the best 40k channel. Well, that means a lot. UK Knits, thank you. Actually had a mean comment on a mini wargaming video recently, which was like, I dislike Skari as the host. He is too silly, and I hate the terrain he put up because I think he didn't put thought into the terrain. I was like, that made that like hurt. I was like, why? Why did you just have to go out of your way to be mean? I sit and assemble all your new guard. Nice. Beginner leagues would also be amazing. Not sure how many of us there are, though. It's hard finding games with people in real life or TTS that are willing to play. But the league, people would sign up. I can definitely put a beginner league up, right? Whereas, like, I will probably have, like, a thread for beginner leagues. That's a great idea, Azael. So folks can hop in if they're starting or learning, and then kind of, like, just figuring it out. Maybe do 3 rounds, right? Make it 8 players, 3 rounds, and then see how it goes. Busy calendar. Are you worried? Are you worried for it as it says are numbered days? As it days are numbered? Busy calendar for sure. Too silly? Hold my chain axe. Thank you, Mark. I knew you'd come to my defense. But the boss, great question. When you were trying for #1 spot last year, for anybody who lived under a rock or just found the channel, I tried to go for the #1 ITC spot last year, and I was 6th global. I got #6 in the world for ITC for last season, with mainly Index Drukhari. What was your practice training regimen like? Say someone would like to improve to get your next step. What kind of prep work training would you recommend? That is a fantastic question. Okay, so I'm going to share a screen here. Let's see if we can do this. This is like off the cuff. Where is this? Okay. Okay. So if we do this, and I do something like this. Okay. So just to give you an idea, right? So let's kind of like, whoop. Yeah, so let's take that off. So this was my sort of like dusty feet journey is what I called it. And it was sort of like my regimen, right? So I'm a big proponent of setting like goals, right? Which was, so the first thing I did was I wrote down goals. I aim to be the #1 ranked Warhammer player in the world for the 2025-26 season, and then you make it a SMART goal. So I'm going to do this by going to at least 6 mega events before LVO 2026, then competing at the LVO to solidify my standing. At the end of the day, I had set these goals before we found out that the season was going to end at WCW, which was basically shortening the season, if that makes sense. Because I made these goals after LVO of the first LVO of last year. And this is a log of my journey. And then I wanted to create a series of videos, explore the journal as well, and create hype for the scene. So like there was a couple of different, so this was like, I needed to set the stage, right? Now I did log entries like this. So I put up a lot of time doing log entries of all the games that I played, like week to week. I was like, games I played, the list that I was thinking of using, etc., getting some practice, like making notes of things that I wanted to do. So I went through a lot of work doing this. Like, not really feeling the Harlequin detachment. Like, it took me a long time to get into real space, Reaper's Wager, for example. But I did a lot of testing. Network with like Cody, like December. I was like, I'm networking with Cody Giroux, who was playing a lot of Reaper's Wager at the time, and it's sort of like I need practice into Orcs, I need practice in Chaos Knights. I was making notes, right? And then one of the biggest things that I did, which is something that I really, really liked, was this here. And this is something I basically made, this is at the time, made a list of every single detachment, right? Every single detachment that is available in the game. Of course, this has now grown since then, right? And every single mission that would be probably done in a tournament, right? Every single mission, every single detachment. And if I had played the mission, so if depending on which missions I had played, I put a little green thing. So I want to make sure I'm playing every mission at least once, right? And then over here is like every detachment that I played, I put a little green thing. So if I ended up playing into a detachment, right, it basically allowed me to keep track of, is there any detachments that I haven't played against? I didn't have to win. It didn't matter about winning or losing. It was about knowing what the detachment did, right? So it was about, do I play against this, that, the other? So whenever I had a test game or something like that, I would be like, oh, is there a way that you could play Peerless Bladesman or whatever? Like, that sort of thing. And because I haven't played against it yet. And it just gives me and then if I played it on a certain mission, I had like a thing where I could be like, okay, which mission did I play it on? So like that I could be like, look, I played against Bridgehead Strike Force because that was a thing in so many missions because I wanted to make sure I had a good idea of what I could do there. Gladius. I played Gladius in most of the missions, right? Some armies Virulent Victorum Death Guard. I played in lots of missions because that was like one of my tougher matchups. And Oathbound Votan, lots of missions, right? Star Shadow Arsenal, lots of missions. Why? Because like I was just testing against those constantly. And then of course I had a WTC practice where I was making sure that I played on every single terrain layout at least once because each layout, and so I had how many times have I played into it? Like, have I played into, like, I ended up playing on every different layout, and I had a different category of like what the stages were, etc., etc. And I put a lot of work into this, which was essentially a lot of practice. Now, how many games did I end up playing? Well, it changed. Here and there. Like I played anywhere up to 4 games a week for practice, like 4 competitive games, and it varied back and forth. But that is a fantastic question, and I just categorized and I logged everything and I kept it organized. And so that's the kind of prep work that I recommend: is just practice, play lots of games. Don't worry about winning or losing your practice games, but get practice games in. And then make sure you vary those practice games because you can practice a lot into something that's in the meta. But I found that the secret to a lot of my success was practicing a lot of the fringe stuff that was not really seen very often, right? Some people are just, Animal says, what if you're just bad at TTS, want to learn that, but probably above average 40k player? That's fine. You could be like a new to TTS league or whatever. It's good just to get used to it. Some people are just mean. Just remember, for every mean comment, you have hundreds of good ones. Thank you. I appreciate that, Brimstone. Your index or carry into Innis at LVO will forever be an all-time game. Thank you, Zinth. That was my favorite in that was like, they do have fights first. So like, just before you charge, like, I do have fights first. And he's like, what's the worst that could happen? Oh man, I'm gonna remember that forever. And then Lilith just bouncing in and out of her venom like the entire game. She put my whole game on her back and made me win that game. Like, Lilith was awesome. USC Deadman says, I've only played 1 game of TTS Hammer. Also, hello, Skari. Hope it's a good birthday. Not yet, next week, but I do appreciate it. Thank you. Preparing the Matrix for the team, and it's a nightmare of Excel files. Yeah, Yeah, it's the simpler you make it, the better. I'll tell you right now. Lucius says, "Hey, Skari, is there anywhere we would be able to submit lists for you to review? New to the channel. Hello, Lucius. So, the army list crunch, which is coming up in a second, is available for Scourge, Trueborn, and Incubi and Super Elite level patrons. So $9, what's a $15 a month or something? You get access to all the bonus content. You put an army list up every time I do a show. I'll review it for you. So that's how you do it. It's on the Discord. So there is a link, or a thread that I basically open up, and you just post it there, and I compile them every week. Sephiroth. Hey, Skari. Hello. Things are going well. Thank you for asking. Moving on. Archon Morsan with a couple of questions. I was playing weekly, but due to scheduling conflicts in a small town game group, I haven't played in over a month. Fair. Have you ever had a game drought? What do you do about it? I have not had a game drought. I have had a 40k game drought, like when I don't play 40k, but it's definitely it's self-imposed. Like I did not play any Warhammer 40k in my 2 weeks holiday during Christmas and New Year's. I played other games, but I didn't play 40k. So what do I do about it? This is what I do. I paint. I hobby, I build terrain. Like I'm building a super secret table, which is a city fight table. I'm building it for me, so I'm not really posting any whip pictures or anything like that. This is a hobby project for me and my friends that come to play at my house. So it's not a content piece. Eventually you'll see pictures when I take pictures or whatever when it's done. But that's a me thing, right? So I do stuff like that when I don't have games to play. Is there some previous edition playstyles for Dark Eldar that would make a comeback with a new codex? For example, would Venom Spam list be viable? So new codex like the codex that we have right now, Venom Spam is definitely viable. There's lots of different ways to play Dark Eldar. I think the previous edition playstyle would be Raiders with Cabalites and Raiders. Like lots of Raiders because Venoms didn't exist. So Ravagers, Raiders, and like bikes with a character that's on a bike. So that would be, be really cool. I'll take to an RTT. What I'll do is I'll get my old Dark Eldar army list, which I remember to a T, and I will adapt it, and I will use it as I will use that list, which is only like 1,200 points of stuff in current Hammer. And then it's probably best in Cabalite Cartel or Reaper's Wager. And then I will expand on it and take it to an event. How about that? I think that'd be a fun little project. F says, what new models, data sheets would you like to see released for Drukhari? Oh, man, I would love to see the Decapitator. I think that'd be awesome. Like, the old characters, like Sliskus and, like, Duke Sliskus and the Baron Sathanis and the Decapitator and, like, all these really flavorful characters would be really cool. As for new data sheets, I was talking about this the other day. It'd be cool to have some more Coven creations that are like more like monsters. Like a big monster Coven creation would be really cool. Like a Hell Pit Abomination that would be like an amalgamation of pieces of flesh and drugs and genetic engineering that they kind of like put this murder blob into the arena and force them to fight, which would be really fun. What flavor, unit types, or abilities do you think we're lacking or would love to see? We're lacking like a true loan up, so that'd be cool to have. We're lacking, we're lacking some punch in close combat, not a lot of punch. But it'd be cool to, I don't know, like I feel like they've kind of like I wish I could stay in my Raiders or in my Venoms and like wouldn't have to get in and out of them all the time. I wish that was a thing. So something to help in that sense. Vect says me. Yeah, Vect would be really cool. Finally, too silly. WTF? Things are going well. Wasn't listening properly. Love your bat reps you paused to highlight. It's really technical maneuvers. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. I was, it was a narrative campaign, so I guess I was too high energy for that person. I check it out. Appreciate all the good work. Yeah, thank you so much, Lucius. Milligrams of Xenu. Howdy, Skari. Can't lie. I've been playing more Hand of the Archon in Kill Team, and that plus your videos really making me want to make a Dark Kin list. Keep up the great content. By the way, Cabalite Cartel in Hand of the Archon in Kill Team. I've done it. It's not easy. They are very squishy. Still learning, but definitely good. Finally watched you answer my question. I've been using them to push aggressively rather than a counterpunch. Yeah. So if you put them out too aggressively, they're going to die. You need to counterpunch more with them. What do you hope for the Eldari Corsair stuff rumored? I don't really touch on rumors at all. Mainly to protect my relationship with Games Workshop, because they do send me preview stuff and things like that. So we don't talk rumors on the channel. When stuff gets released, if it gets released, when it gets released, we will talk about it ad nauseum. But we'll have full information at hand, and then we can answer questions and go into it. Right? Bring back Grotesques. Yeah. Corella Devile. Her lore was hilarious. Coven's getting some real stuff would probably force me to buy some Drukhari. Covens are really fun. Abomination made of Taus. Games Workshop, give us Castigators. My soul is yours. Tortured Wraith Contracts. Yeah, Tortured. I've talked about this. Tortured Wraith Contracts would be awesome. Corrupted Wraith Knight, Corrupted Wraith Lords. Yeah. I feel mixed on Vect coming because he just seems like he would not be seen on a battlefield, but I don't know who else could be Centerpiece Big Model. Yeah, that makes sense. But then again, I think Vect has like so many doppelgangers that like, who the hell knows? You know what I mean? It could be a body double. That's a great question. So moving on, let's go into the coveted list crunch. We have a couple of lists to go over. I'll read them, give you my thoughts, and hopefully you can take that if you want to put up a list. So we talked about that earlier and how you can put up a list. I want a Mandrake character and detachment. Mandrakes are so cool. Like the new Mandrake models are really neat. Like I've got a couple on my paint table, which are the ones for the, like for Kill Team, the actual special character ones that I still need to paint so I can run my Mandrakes in Kill Team. But I have the 3 special ones here, and then I've got the 10 normal ones. I'm high on Hopium for Yarek's return. There's a Warcom article about him, Uriel and Huron, and the latter are 2 confirmed. I don't think, is Uriel confirmed? Huron is definitely confirmed. Blink twice, because they showed off the model. Blink twice if the new Corsair box is in the room with you. If I blink once, does that count? What was that Mandrake character that almost killed Vulcan? Give me that guy. Mandrake character, was that the Decapitator? Credulak, right? The Mandrakes in Kill Team are very cool. I'll paint them eventually. Yeah, I think they're very good in Kill Team. Let's moving on. So, Da Boss posted a list. Taking this war list to a team event. Give me your taught. I will give you my taught. Smiley face. All gas, no brakes. Oh, I see what you did there. Very punny. Thank you for sharing. We can move on from your list now. Orcs, Warhorde. Still a very good detachment, in my opinion. Boss Snickrot, Gazgul, a mech, a couple of Pain Boys, one with Follow Me Lads, a War Boss, double brick of boys, 2 trucks, a big battle wagon with an art case for one of the units of boys, a couple of flash kits, Gretchen. I'm assuming they're 5-strong flash kits, or how big are these flash kit units? Gretchen, Commandos, you can split, double Storm Boys, and double Tank Busters. I like this list. This is like probably one of the more like you're gonna get this list. Like this list just works. Follow Me Lads with a Pain Boy. I'd probably put Follow Me Lads on the mech and then put mech with Gazgul. That's the combo I like. Mech, Gazgul, Follow Me Lads on the mech, because then you can advance through units with the mech, right? I think that's kind of how that works. And then you have, and then go into 20. Then the Pain Boy goes in. I don't think you need the Pain Boys, to be honest. I think a War Boss, 1 Pain Boy, sure. But you could probably drop the 2nd Pain Boy. I don't know how many points that is, and put in something else. That's like the only thing that I'd go, I don't think you need the double Pain Boy. Like, flash kits are fun. They're good. You could do the Ludas as well. They're cheap, very cheap. Like trash units, depending on how big those flash kits bricks are. Also, if you're taking Tank Busters, a big mech with a shock attack gun is a fantastic buy for a unit of Tank Busters. Even just having 1 big mech with a shock attack gun in a unit of Tank Busters that goes into Strategic Reserve and then pops in randomly, like that unit can change the whole tone of an entire flank of a battlefield. So I don't know if there's a way you could kind of squeeze something like that in, but I don't think you need a double pain boy. That's like where my instinct goes in terms of how I would play orcs with this list. But with that, you've got all the building blocks of a fantastic competitive orc list here. More Gretchen. Yeah, you do have the 10 Gretchen, but, Gretchen are not bad. Then again, if you do the more Gretchen, though, I'm a big fan of the Gretchen character with the big brick of Gretchen as like the jail, but that's like a very beast pack style of play where you just like yeet that big unit of Gretchen up and create like a screen and then stage Gazgul for the war turn and then just go for it, and that can be very strong. Also in Warhorde, the squig hopper guys, like the squig riders, are a really good hitting unit, right? So the things that I would consider the core of this list are Gazgul, mech with Follow Me Lads, or a character with Follow Me Lads, 20 boys. The Gretchen, the Commandos, the 2 Storm Boys units, the trucks, maybe the Battle Wagon. I don't think you need the Battle Wagon. Hey, Tomas, thank you so much for the €5 super chat. Really means a lot. Thank you very much. Much thoughts with you. Thank you. That's awesome. And then you have like the flash kits are good for shooting, right? And the tank busters are good for shooting up, but I would prefer tank busters over flash kits. However, if you do have another war boss, like flash kits, like one of them, if you need some more combat punch, you could probably do I like the smasher guys, the smasher knobs or whatever, because they go with like a war boss. And then instead of like the second 20 boy unit, like 2 units of beast snaggers with beast bosses. Like there's ways that you can kind of increase the damage output of the list, but you've got the core of the list down pat. Now, my question to you is, what do you have in your collection, right? Like, is this sort of like what you own? Are you building it? And then from there, like, what choices can you make? But I look forward to it. Take what I said. If you come back with a new idea, we can kind of go from there. Kit posted a list. Hi, Skari. Yay, new Quinn's detachment. I know. Very exciting. The Serpent's Brood or whatever it's called. I've tried a few games with almost pure Harlequins and struggled to push enough damage through, so I added some buffing and screening units. It's funny because, yes, I think the Harlequin detachment is great, but it does need a few elf units. And you can let me know in the comments, like if you agree or disagree, chat. But I think that it's kind of like a shame, but at the same time, it is what it is. So you can either accept it or just be grumpy about it. I'm of the view that you should just accept it and build something that you can work with. So 3 troop masters, yep, with the whale for the scout, a solitaire and Lycus. Yep, that's a pretty solid HQ. Lycus is really good for the sustained and stuff like that. The combo that the sustained hits or the lethal hits, right? 6 units of 5 troops, 1 unit of 5 rangers. Really important to have infiltrate. Very important. Unit of Corsair Void Reavers, very good to have some scout and some high OC that you can use to harass the opponent, get to an objective early, especially using the rangers to screen out. 4 Star Weavers, I hope with glaives. 2 Falcons. I would only go for the 1, but I could see 2. It gives you the full rerolls to wound, right, when you get out of it. 1 unit of 4 Skyweavers with Haywire Cannons. Oh, 4 Star Weavers of the Transport, sorry. 1 unit of Skyweavers with Haywire Cannons and Glaives, and 1 unit of Warp Spiders. So, the only thing I would probably do here is drop a Falcon, right? I don't think you need the second Falcon, and I would try to fit in a second unit of Skyweavers. But in terms of that, I think you've got the right idea. Lycus and the Warp Spiders supercharge your Skyweavers and your troops. 1 Falcon would be very good with a Troop Master to do like a get out and do a lot of damage for the rerolls and stuff like that, like mid-game when you really need to hit something a little hard. The Solitaire is just a nice little missile, which you can hide in one of the Star Weavers to get the sustained hits or whatever when he disembarks and goes to murder stuff, which would be really fun. And then the Void Reavers, they don't need to be anywhere. Just put them on foot. Like, the second Falcon is kind of redundant here. It doesn't really carry anything. You have 6 units of troop, or 6 times 5 troops. So 6 units of troops. Have 1 troop on foot, or drop 1 troop and a Falcon and put in the Skyweavers. Like, that's kind of where my head's at with this. But hopefully that gives you some food for thought, Kit. First thing you need to is Red Scorpions. Hi, Skari. Not Scout. Extra damage enhancement. Extra damage? Sure. Well, I can see how you have the Corsair Void Reavers. I prefer the Scout, but you do have the Void Reavers from early aggression. The Scouting Troop Master, though, worth considering because it is a very good early skirmishing piece that in a Star Weaver, where you can go kill something, hop back into the Star Weaver, and then you just don't have to worry about it as well. Just paint your Eldari Harlequin patterns. Yeah, that works too. Goes to the Webway, says, it's my list. Nice, Kit. Jensjik. I don't know what to Red Scorpions. I don't know. You can Red Scorpions. Good old Red Scorpions. There you have it. So that's kind of like my thought process. I would like to see a second unit of Skyweavers so you could have like a 1-2 punch with them and then skirmish with it. And I think, but I do like the fact that you have the Rangers, the Corsairs, and the Warp Spiders. I think are very important. Like that and one Falcon. I think that's like the core units of Eldar that you would like. I don't think you need Lycus as an example, but I think Lycus supercharges your go turn. If there's like a big unit you need to deal with, you can like Lycus with Warp Spiders and then go Skyweavers and then troops and just like supercharge a hit into like a Death Star. Like say, you know, when you really need to try and kill some Victrix Guard or something. In Ghost, you kind of need a 10-man troop to guarantee big kills. Correct. So glad. Legendary War Game Thailand. Nice. Okay. Danny Cod says, hi, Skari. I closed my spite list, so done with that, and starting with a cartel list. Any thoughts? Drazar y su tropichanga. Me encantan los nombres que le pones a tus listas. Drukari, 1990 points. You also know how I feel about points left over, Danny. Come on. Come on, man. Come on. What is this? What is this madness? 10 points left over? How dare you? Archon with the Webway All, Agonizer, Shadowfield, Soul Trap, Warlord, Drazar, Malice, Lilith. Thanks, tried 2 units, but whiffed every game due to lack of rerolls. I'll buy new dice and try again. You tried 2 units. Did you only whiff in 1 game? If you did, that's no reason to not try them again and again and again. Like, you should try a unit or a combination of units like 4 or 5 games before you decide whether or not it was like the dice or whether it was like just they're not working for you. 2 very different things. Then again, if you played a lot of games with them and then that's fine. But I like the 2 units. All 3. Nice. All 3. Everything. Battle line, 10 cabs, 10 witches, a raider, double venom, 10 incubi, 5 incubi, 10 mandrakes, 5 hellions, 3 reavers, ravager, 3 scourges. So I don't think you need the 3rd scourge unit, so that's 130 points you can save. I would add a 2nd reaver unit. The hellions are fine, but instead of hellions, I'd probably take another unit of 5 mandrakes. You have incubi. I personally have gone heavy into the cabalites, and you've gone for Lilith and witches. Like, this is a good Cabalite Cartel list. You have the Ravagers with Disintegrators, which I think is a good unit, especially in Cap Cartel. Very, very strong. I think this is too redundant. I don't think you need all 12 Dark Lances from here. I personally have taken a Carbine Scourge unit to supercharge my Dark Lances and Disintegrators against the target, making them +1 AP, right? And giving me that 6-inch Deep Strike, which I think is very important as well. As for the Raider, it's like, what are you using? The Raider for the 10 Incubi? Sure. You know, and then you basically, or the 10 incubi go with the Archon with the Webway All, and you put 5 incubi with, say, Drazar in a Venom. Magnati Malice, by the way, I will tell you, sorry for the 10-point gap. Yeah, you better. You better. So, I will tell you, Lady Malice, I have found works incredibly well with the Hand of the Archon. I was at first like, Hand of the Archon way too expensive for a big 10-man unit. For the longest time I'm like, split, split, please split, split. And then they allowed us to split. Thank goodness they allowed it to be split. Awesome. So now I've been using it more, and I'll tell you right now that it has been a pleasant surprise. It's still expensive for what you get, but Lady Malice with a Hand of the Archon has been one of the coolest units that I have been using. The fact that a pain token gives Lady Malice lethal, sustained, and precision all in one pain token in combat makes her incredibly dangerous. The scout move is very, very useful. I love the scout move. And of course you can deny one, like you make one objective very easy for you to like contest in the mid game, right? Like with the impulse save and the like make that objective important or whatever, which is very, very cool. So I would recommend that you try and fit a Hand of the Archon in, to be honest. And then of course, like yes, you've got lethal and or sustained, regardless with like the detachment rule or whatnot. So you don't necessarily need a pain token for that sort of stuff. But I'll tell you right now that like Malice getting just precision with a pain token instead of like having to spend a command point for it is really good. Like very, very good. As well. What are the odds of the MK4 Dreadnought? I don't know. Man, I have no idea when it comes to units. But that's kind of my thoughts there, Danny Cod. Moving on, Mark of Corn. What? Mark of Corn putting in Malice, a Malice list. What is this madness? Mark, I'll see you in my office, sir. You better have everything in multiples of 8. Spectacle of Spite. Okay, well, I guess it's Spectacle, so I'll give you a break. Malice, Lilith, Succubus, Succubus with Morganas and Chronoshards. So fights first, +1 damage, Lilith and Malice. Great. I think Malice is just an auto take in pretty much every Drukhari list. 30 witches. Good. You have a respectable number of witches, and I don't think you need more than 30. I think a true pro would take 30. 2 Talos, Liquefier macros, and Twin Haywires, so a little bit of anti-tank. Personally, it's not something that I've been taking with my Spectacle. I've been taking, Scourge instead, but, you haven't got the Scourge, so the Talos kind of help out in that sense. 5 Mandrakes, 5 Mandrakes. Oh, you do have Scourge. Well, I stand corrected. Haywire Dark Lance. Fair. It's good. You've got anti-tank. I have the 3rd Scourge unit, and you have an extra Ravager. 10 Hellions, 5 Hellions, 5 Hellions. Good amount of Hellions. 6 Reavers, 3 Reavers, and 1 Chronos. Good. 1 Raider and 2 Venoms. Good. Like, this is a very good list. The only difference being is I have more Scourge. I have less Hellions, less Reaver Jet Bikes, more Chronos, and I have a unit of Cabalites and an Archon. Because that Archon with free grenade every turn with sticky objectives from a Cabalite squad that's also split, I find has been very useful. I like that in my playstyle. Lots of people have been dropping Cabalites based on the influence of certain people online, and that's fine. If you don't need Cabalites, you don't. But I find it hard to build a list without Cabalites. Which 5 guys do you put with Malice from the hand? Sergeant, melee, special guns. Okay, so I split. So this is like my Hand of the Archon split. I do not take the Stinger pistol, right? All I take is, because a Stinger pistol, you lose a rifle for that. So why would you? So I have, in the Venom, I put a Splinter Cannon. So Splinter Cannon to take advantage of the lethal hits and the precision and stuff if I really want to. The Shredder. So Splinter Cannon. Blaster, sorry, yeah, Blaster, not a Shredder. Actually, which one did I put on there? I think it's a Blaster. I'm pretty sure it's a Blaster. Blaster, Blaster, Cartel time. Hand. It is a Blaster, yeah, so Splinter Cannon, Blaster, and 3 rifles in the Venom. Right, and then with Malice, oh no, sorry, 3, the cannon, the blaster, the carbine, the guy with the little the little bird, and 2 rifles, because the carbine goes in the little shooter unit. That's like a unit that I scout up and tends to just go and harass. Very similar to the Void Scarred that Eldar use, but they don't have the extra OC, right? Since they're in a Venom at the start of the game, I don't declare them to have like an objective, because it's a data sheet ability and then a transport, right? So like, I'm just been erring on the side of caution. But if a TO would let me, then they'd also have an objective they could harass early in the game. Then I have Malice on foot for the redeploy until, of course, it's clarified or FAQ'd or whatever, with the Sergeant with a blast pistol, power sword, and or power weapon, and the banner, so the little flag, right? Very important to have the flag, because then then that banner is like 2 OC base plus Malice, which is 2 OC. So they're 4 OC base, just the 2 models. And if they're going on their objective that's big, it's 7 OC just for those 2 models, which really helps flip some objectives that are going to be hotly contested. 1 rifle, and then I have the Razor Flail, the Pain Sculptors as well, right? Pain Sculptor, Razor Flail, Power Sword, and then I've got the Stinger, like the Injector, the one that helps you save, like feel safe. So 2 rifles, 1 with the Injector, 1 just a rifle. That's my split. And and I keep it very combat-y so that I can just focus on going in and getting involved, like advancing up and charging if I have advanced. If I have, I can Reaper's Wager, or scouting up and charging, or getting out of Venom and charging, or whatever it is I'm doing, and then having a Vectora around and things like that. Days Old Witches. Sadly, these elves don't come in 8s, but they die fast enough. Think you're right, and may miss Sticky for sure. Missing Sticky is a thing. I played against one 10-man hand of the Archon. It tends to just live a little bit, and you think it's fine, but it's still 7 OC. Correct. The 2 little dudes are 7 OC. It means a lot. But Mark, hopefully that gives you some food for thought. Greg posted a list as well. Thank you, Greg, for participating. I know Terminators aren't the greatest right now. Sure. But I like the look of people's faces when they know the need. They know they need to chew through 46 wounds. I know, 2 up, 4 up, 4 up, versus Mortals, worth it. I didn't have the points for a Lancer, but I'm all ears for ideas on what to replace a Valiant with, along with other critiques to the list, obviously. Back in Black, Black Templars, Gladius. Awesome. So Gladius Task Force, really fun. Couple of Castellans, solid. Chaplain and Terminator armor, solid. Empress Champion with the Honor, very solid. Like, Gladius Empress Champion with Honor is a little beatstick. Absolutely love him. Couple of Marshals, can't go wrong with that either. Heavy Intercessor Squad, I own a unit and I use it all the time. Gladiator, Valiant with Meltas, and of course, don't forget it has a Pintle-mounted multi-Meltar, so make sure you click that as an option, because it's a Black Templar Gladiator. It should be. Black Templar Gladiator has an extra multi-Meltar. Infiltrator Squad with the, Comms Array, Helix, good. 2 Repulsors, 1 Scout Squad, couple of Swords Brethren units, and a Terminator Assault Squad, all with Storm Shields and Armor. This is a solid list. The only thing I think you're missing is the Lone Up Lieutenant. Now, I know that Black Templar is in the zeitgeist. Like, folks love their Castellan Marshal and their, Sword Brethren squad. I personally am not a fan of taking 2 of those units. I think that you don't need to. There's no point. The thing you can 100% take the vow to get sticky objectives with infantry, so you don't necessarily need intercessors, like regular intercessors, but you have your infiltrators, which is important. You have scouts, which is important. Like, you are missing some trash to do missions with. So I personally would drop a Castellan, drop a Marshal, drop a whole unit of Sword Brethren, and that should give you enough points to put in a Lone Up Lieutenant for some mission play, as well as potentially some jump back intercessors, or suppressors, or eliminators, or something that gives you a little bit more mission play units, second unit scouts, an ATV, something that you can use to just play the game so you can focus your heavy hitters to go and do heavy hitting stuff. And that's really the only place where I see wiggle room in this list, personally. Clicked it, 3 multi-Meltars. Okay, awesome. So that's the 3rd multi-Meltar, is the Black Templar one. Lots of offshoot stuff. The heavy, I'd rather aggressive flame gauntlet on a sergeant, rest bolter gun. Yeah, it's fine. You know, I'm a big fan of the heavy intercessors with the heavy bolt rifles and the heavy bolter. I don't own a heavy bolter, so they're just 5 heavy bolt rifles. So I need to get another box to make a couple of heavy bolters or whatever. Loyalist over here with multiple multi-meltdowns on this stuff. My Chaos Space Marine Orland with combi bolters. That's right. You shouldn't have left, bro. We had the best weapons. You left before it got good. Thank you for your list, by the way, Greg. Really appreciate it. Dropped my infiltrators. Found I didn't get enough value for them, but I can understand why it's stable. I would never, ever leave home without a unit of infiltrators. I stand by that. Like, also, something that I highly recommend, by the way, is I really like the Emperor's Champion with a unit of just assault intercessors. Now, in my list, I don't have the second repulsor executioner. I only have the one, which I'm painting, right? But I like the Emperor's Champion in assault intercessor unit in an impulsor, which I've scouted up with a unit of incursors. So I have infiltrators, incursors, impulsor, assault intercessors, Emperor's Champion. And that little combo there allows me to go onto like an objective and like wipe it clean with the Emperor's Champion, right? Like he's just, especially if it's a big killy knight and he's doing his mortal wounds, his dev wounds almost per game, anti-infantry, anti-character, whatever, like, and re-rolls to wound because of the assault intercessors, right? Super cool. Writing an email to Games Workshop now asking why my salamanders cannot have 3 multi-meltdowns on the Valiant, but Templars can. Supplement bias. If anything, we should have more Hurricane Bolters, because that was our thing, whereas, yes, the multi-meltar was definitely more of a salamander thing than a Black Templar thing. I don't know where it became a Black Templar thing, but sure, whatever. Moving on, Journeyman. Hello and Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. I would like to build a Serpent's Brood list for solo tournaments. Here's my first try. I don't know if I should use blades or special weapons for the troop. Blades. Just more attacks tends to be more consistent to get the dev wounds, and because you have the +1 to wound and potential rerolls from a falcon and things like that, like the blades, except for the sergeant, which can have the power weapon or whatever. If I should take a Fugan or a second unit of fire dragons. If you have bikes with haywire, you shouldn't need Fugan. The bikes seem too expensive and hard to hide at 190 points. Yes, but you hide them, and then the whole point with them is you commit them, they go kill something, and then they run away, and so you hide them again. So it's not that they're too expensive and hard to hide, it's that finally there's a way to hide them. It's a matter of learning how to hide them properly. How do you think Lycus is a must in this detachment? I don't think he's a must, but it supercharges the shooting in the detachment. So 3 troop masters in solitaire, that's pretty standard. You could take Fugan or Lycus, either or. I personally prefer Lycus in this detachment. Void Weavers, good. 5 units of troops with blades. Make sure you have the double fusion, the double neuro, and the sergeant with the power weapon. Like, don't like do the work to get all of those things clicked in. 2 units of Dark Reapers with a Tempest. I don't think you need 2, maybe 1, just to backfield support and a little bit of Adeline like shooting. Like, yeah, I think 2 is overkill. A unit of Fire Dragons, 5 Fire Dragons, sure. Striking Scorpions are great. You can use Rangers, but I also like Striking Scorpions, so I vote for them too. 2 units of Swooping Hawks. You don't need 2 units. 1 unit is fine. Just a quick little unit to do actions with and play the missions. But you could also use like Rangers or Warlocks on jet bikes. A Falcon and 4 Star Weavers. So, yeah, Falcon good, Star Weavers good. You are missing the bikes. Like, this detachment sings when you use those bikes. So if there's a way that you could fit at least 1 unit in, I feel like it's worth the effort of trying to learn how to use it, personally. Go sets of 5 aggressors. 1 gets a heavy weapon selection, autocannon mount, flamer, gauntlet starts gets multi-combo gauntlet. Go sets of 5 aggressor units. What? I don't own any aggressors, actually, but if I did, I would run them with flamers, I think, because I think that'd be fun. And that's kind of my thought process there, Journeyman. Does anyone use Shroud Runners in Eldar? I have seen them used when you're using like the jet bike detachment, because the jet bike detachment has an incredible damage output. I'm surprised it's not really seen that often, but like even in a team's environment, that jet bike army is insane how much damage. Like that would kill, like you're talking about Catan, that jet bike army would annihilate Catan. Like just without question. With Eldrad for +1 to wound, and then the jet bikes pop in and out of reserve and get full rerolls like to hit and wound or whatever, and it gets very silly very quickly. Like the amount of like scatalators they get, and like it's very silly. And with lethals and like it's just nuts. They would kill Catan no problem. Like, yes, the math is silly, and but in that unit, you have the ability to ignore cover, right? So they can shoot something and ignore cover, and then you have Warwalkers to then give +1 AP, and then you combo that, and then +1 wound, and you can focus down on a tough target. Very good, but it's in a specific army. I feel like Void Weavers get underrated a little bit, but I don't play them, so I don't know for sure. Void Weavers, like, they require a little bit of skill to use because they're very fragile. And Lone Op 18, like you've got the shoot and scoot, so like one would actually be very good in a detachment because you could move out, shoot, and then scoot behind a wall. So I like that for CP. And Eldrad is also very good, by the way, in Serpent's Brood, just for the extra command point. Just as a note. Do you think it would be healthier if 40k was on a 4-year cycle instead of a 3-year cycle? End of life codexes seem to have it rough. Whatever. It's all one big edition, so who cares? Like it's just continues. It's like another update. It's just another update, another update. Like we get an update every 3 months already. You know, what's another update? I love Shroudrunners in 9th. Yeah, they were very good in 9th. I played bikes versus Catan spam and got tabled top of 4. -1 damage really hurt on the bikes. Sure, Fluffy, Bud, Halfy, Halfly. However, you're running probably all cannons. Like try scatalators next time. I honestly think with the right combos, the Catan would just get destroyed. Do you expect any units to see more play with new attachments? Desolation Squad. I think Desolation Marines you're going to see them more often, especially with Guard being a thing in the meta again. You need something that can kill those mortar teams, and a Vangor launcher is very good at killing mortar teams. Got my hands on the Eldar half of the Eldritch Omens box, an Avatar, another kit of Shroudrunners, not sure where to take it, not counting Harlequin Petrol. Yeah, just fit it into a list, play it, see if you like it. Well, 20 was a big difference between 1 to 9. Whoa. 20 is a big difference between 1 to 9. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Moving on, Brimstone says, hello, Mrs. Skari, and Happy New Year. Happy New Year. This is my Chaos Space Marine list. Wondering if I should make the Raptor a 10 strong now and have the Lord go with them. What are your thoughts? Any other advice would be appreciated. The answer is no. Just no. Just keep them as 5s. Especially in your list, because you need the things to play the mission, and Raptors help you do that. Cypher, Bile, Lord with Jump Pack, Demon Prince with Wings, with a slash mark, 10 Cultists, 5 Legionnaires, right? Chosen, a Blitz, 5 Raptors, Warp Talons, Forge Fiend, Rhino, Nurglings. Do you have points left over? Where's the second Raptor unit? Or are you looking to take stuff away and add another Raptor unit? Don't change this list. This list is amazing. All you get is you don't necessarily need to take the Lord of the Jump Pack with the Warp Talons to get like grenades. You could just run it with the Raptors if you want like another like pseudo hitting unit, but you have a lot of hitting units. If anything, you'd probably just drop the Lord of the Jump Pack altogether now, because the Warp Talons are pretty self-sufficient with grenades. And then take that Jump Pack Lord points and put in a second unit of Raptors. That would probably work better. Well, 10th was a big change from 9th. Fair. Yes, it was 100%. You do have to remember, you have to know, Troy, that I've been playing since 3rd edition. So I guess change, I don't know how many editions you've played, but change to me is the same shit. It's just the same thing in different, like it's like little tweaks over the course. Like it changes, sure, but whatever. We're going to play the game regardless, so you might as well just learn how to do it and stop worrying about the fact that it changed. Sure, it changed. Just we learn it, we apply it, and we just use it. Use whatever's in front of us at that point in time. Some people don't like change, but I love and thrive with change. But other than that, Brimstone, that's my thought process. Yeah. Other than that, don't change the list too much. The list works. We've tested it. Don't change it, right? And you're also focusing on your custodies, so let's get some more reps in with the custodies. Moving on, Flowers asks, my question, trying to make things work with the Raptor's point increase. Chaos Lord for free rapid ingress, Felgor Beastman for round 2 enemy Deep Strike reserve, running low on Deep Strike options. Fair. So 2 Lords, 1 with a jump pack, and Twin Lightning Claws, Cypher, Discordant, Terminator Armor, Short, 2 Cultists, 4 units of 5 Legionnaires, 2 Rhinos, 3 units of Bikers, Terminator Squad, Vindicator, Felgor, Raptors. So the biggest thing here is, like, I don't think you need that many Legionnaire units. You put 1 Legionnaire unit in each Rhino, and then give each one a Chaos Lord. So you've got 2 Lords for 2 units of Legionnaires, which gives you all the extra points that you need, really. You have 3 units of Chaos Bikes, you can go down to 2. So 2 Chaos Bikes, 2 units of Legionnaires, so you gain the points of 2 units of Legionnaires and 1 unit of Bikes, which gives you enough points to put another Raptor unit in, or, you know, make another Chaos Terminator Squad or Vindicator. Like, it gives you more options. Also, Predators can be really useful in this detachment, Renegade Raiders. And, of course, I do recommend that you maybe put in, I don't know, maybe the Discordant on Hellstalker, is there a way that you could up, like, the value of the Lord Discordant on Hellstalker with, like, a Forge Fiend or something that, or the Hellstalkers, like the little cockroachy looking things with the big butts, the little spiders things. What are they called? Anyway, Felgor don't Deep Strike. It says tiny typo. Sure, Felgor don't Deep Strike. Maybe it's more for a rapid ingress threat, like later in the game or something. But in terms of that, you have so a second Raptor unit would also kind of work. You got, you know, you could. I don't think you need to deep strike them. I think they're great. But if you want to get a deep striking unit, find the points to put in a unit of Warp Talons. As I said before, Warp Talons are, in my opinion, one of the best deep striking units in the game. And because they are a rapid ingress deep strike threat that has good consistent damage output into the right targets, like infantry and stuff, and then you can make them run away, and they're non-interactive. So the points that you spend on them, you get to reuse over and over. There's a reason why Liam VSL uses them, right? Venom Crawlers. There you go. Thanks, Synth. That's the one I was hoping to remember. Venom Crawlers are it. Yep. That's my thoughts. Flowers. Like, that's kind of where I'd look at. And it gives you options to kind of do a variety of stuff. I do like the double cultist mob, right? Because that does give you good, like, screening for your backboard and things like that. However, you could get away with having 1 cultist mob as long as you spread them out properly, right? And then I think you are sort of missing an infiltration unit. Like, if this is designed to be a competitive list that goes into games, having, like, just a Nurgling unit as well would probably work really useful to stop your opponent from scouting up or taking up space, so you don't get jailed into your own deployment. Like, you want to take advantage of the board space because you're fast. You can advance and shoot and things like that. You want to give yourself that room. And if you do run into that army that can jail you easily, having something that gives you the option to sort of, like, prevent that from happening right away can be very, very useful. Wow. I wish Sangard could fly away after killing a unit they rapid ingressed into. Yeah, like, being able to run away after fighting is massively, massively powerful. I play Dark Eldar, I know, but being able to do that with a Space Marine chassis or a Space Marine body is insanely good. Zinth says, another Nightmare Hunt list. Tried my last one, had fun with it. Honestly, really like the Obliterators into medium toughness target, but I've got a buddy who's absolutely going to put 3 Catan in front of me, so we're swapping to Vindicators. Beyond that, just going to see how Raptors do. Yeah, that's a meta shift. You can absolutely make changes based on your local meta. That's not a problem at all. You know, and if you're doing, you know, Vindicators with lethal hits or whatever, right, firing into Catan and whatnot, you know, it takes a lot of wounds to kill a Catan. But if you do kill a Catan, that's a giant chunk of their army that they just do not get to do. Like, every army right now should look at themselves and go, how do I kill a Catan? You know, as a Dark Eldar player, playing Cabalite Cartel, which is what I'm playing mainly right now for competitive play because, you know, I'm a snowflake like that, is you focus down one target and hope to kill it. You know, you grenade, tank shock, right? Lethal hits. Like, you do everything you can to focus on the one target and you try and kill it as best you can. But at the same time, you have to try to kill all the supporting elements that support the Catan. So, like, little lone characters, the destroyers, the little units of flayed ones, whatever it is they have that is going to help them play points. And then you want to try, as like Lennon was talking, John Lennon was talking about this on a video the other day, and he has it bang on. It's like, if your opponent brings like 3 or 4 Catan, right, you sort of try and bypass the Catan and get to their home objective where they have like, what, 5 immortals or a hex mark or something really small sitting on their objective, and then you force a Catan to double back and go onto the home objective, and that alone is like killing a Catan, because by the time it gets back into the fight, it's like turn 5 and it doesn't matter anymore. So you can kill one Catan, maybe 2, have a plan for that, and then isolate the other Catans, like pull them in different directions so they can't converge. I've enjoyed using Huron with 10 Warp Talons and starting them on the board. Putting them in a reserve would redeploy if I don't have stuff to murder turn 1. So I'm going to drop the Lord with Jump Pack. Would it be better if I switched detachments? Nope. Keep the detachment. You wanted to try out all those Battle Shock mechanics. I think that works really well. With the, you could try different, like we talked about the Bile thing, so maybe try Bile, right? Because that was the 2. So that's up to you, Brimstone. I'm going to let you make that choice. And then you tell me how it feels. And then we have, okay, so Jump Pack Lord, Jump Pack Lord. So you went double Jump Pack Lord, Cypher, Harken. Cool. That's like another, he's actually interesting for this detachment. Cultist, Legion, Legion, so double Legion, couple of Rhinos, 1 unit Bikers, couple of Indies, 2 units of 5 Raptors, and a big brick of, see, Warp Talons, they're right there. And then a couple of Noise Marines. Now you've kind of gone heavier into the Noise Marines for some shooting. Which I guess you could kind of put into the Rhinos as well, and they run around using the Rhino Dark Pacts, right? So they can kind of get some more Blastmaster guns. It's an interesting little combo there. I guess you could put, like, it's not bad. Like, I prefer like Predators and stuff, but Noise Marines in a Rhino are pretty good firing phase. The Raptors, see, this is the core, right? Like a couple of Raptors and a Warp Talon. I like that. And of course, you're using them more as a heavy hitter, so you're not using like the obliterators for shooting. You're more focusing on vindicators. So this style of list it would be quite useful. I'm not exactly sure what Harken does though. But at 90 points, sure, yeah, he's like another Chaos Level Jump Pack, and since you've kind of focused on that, it kind of makes sense nicely. Sadly, has a major anti-synergy. Me no want to use brain. You use your brain, Brimstone. You can do this. You tell me what you tried, and tell, because I'm teaching you how to do it. Harken sadly has a major anti-synergy. It's not the same thing. Yeah, okay, fair enough. His Battle Shock is anti-synergistic, but he's got Charged Mortals and Precision on his claw. Okay, fair enough. So he's like a little, he can go in and do like a little assassin thing, which is nice. I like the list. I think this would be good. You do have the cultists as well. You have enough sort of like you have bikers and stuff. So you have like enough chaff to kind of play the mission as well. But let me know how it goes. Especially if you're playing against Necrons, please tell me how it feels. Moving on, we have the last list of the day. No. Honey Monster says, hi Skari, I've made changes to my recent list. Would love to get some feedback. The core of which is Archon with Arc Raider in Reaper's Wager, Lilith, Solitaire Malice, 10 Cabs, 10 Witches, 2 Venoms, double 10 Hellions, Reaver, 5 Mandrakes, 10 Mandrakes, double Scourge with Dark Lance, and now for the stuff where I don't feel like I get enough value. 5 Hellions, 1 Kronos, 1 Talos. I feel like they don't do enough. I was thinking about kicking the Talos and upping the last Hellions to 10, or maybe kick the Kronos, downgrade the 10 Mandrakes to 5, and add another 5 Scourges. What are your thoughts? So, 1 Talos, that's like the one thing I would drop. I would actually drop the second unit of 10 Hellions to 5, so I'd do 10, 5, 5 in Reaper's Wager. That's what I would do there. And then I would get a second Kronos, drop 1 unit of Reavers, and then add a 3rd unit of Scourge. And that is what I would do. So 3rd Scourge, but I would definitely take a Haywire Scourge. Haywire Scourge in Reaper's Wager is a must, but the Chronos is the thing I would drop. Now, if you don't want to drop anything else, like, yes, drop the Talos. Sorry, I dropped the Talos. Don't drop the Chronos. Keep the Chronos. Good. They might not be doing much, but for 55 points, it's very good. And then, if anything, drop 1 unit of Reavers, and then use that points to add a second Chronos and up the Hellions to 10, so you have 30 Hellions. Like, that would work. You know, it's not bad. And you can kind of go with that. So Talos definitely goes. I would keep the Chronos, give it a choice, give it a chance, but double it up, like double up to 2 Chronos. I highly recommend it. And then try and find something to do with these Hellions. The 10 Mandrakes or 5 Mandrakes, like, yes, you could drop the 10 Mandrakes to 2 5s. I like the 10 Mandrakes, but it does require a little bit more, like, skill because they die so fast. So you could easily drop it to a unit of 5 Mandrakes. If you do that, then you could take a third unit of 5 Mandrakes and have 3 units of 5, so you can sacrifice one as like an infiltration unit, right? And then that. So there are a couple of options you can do, but I agree, drop the Talos, try and add a second Chronos, and then you've got some points to play around with, and hopefully that gives you a little bit of food for thought as well. Just testing him out, how he feels. Honestly, I don't think Harkin plus 5 is better than finding room for another 5 Raptors and running 2 leaderless 5-mans, but I'm curious how he feels. Yeah. That's fair. I've tried to make him work a few times. He's always been underwhelming. Hopefully you have much more luck than I did. Hey, thank you, Blightspawn, for a £4.99 super chat. Really appreciate it. I've recently acquired a bunch of Drukhari with a view to playing them in 2026. Thanks for the inspiration and wish me luck. Well, the Blightspawn, good luck. Thank you for participating. Thanks for the super chat. It does mean a lot. And I hope you the best of success with that. So, we're just about coming to the end of this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to quickly go over my list that I'm running for the TGX, and we'll basically be starting the the premiere for the battle report in a few minutes as well. So 3 times Archon. This is my Reaper's Wager. My Cabalite Cartel list. We have one with the All Warlord. We have one with the Plate. And we have one with the Network. By the way, this list is insane. I've got Malice, right? That is my only HQs. I have 2 times 10 cabs with all the gubbins. I have 3 times Venoms. That's right. I have 2 times Chronos. I love my Chronos. 55 points for a Chronos is a steal. It is a steal. Hand of the Archon. 1 Hand of the Archon. 1 times 5 Mandrakes. 1 times 10 Mandrakes. Mandrakes. 1 times 10 Mandrakes. 1 times 5 Mandrakes. 2 times Ravager. 3 times Disseys. Right? 2 times 3 Reaver Jet Bikes. Just for some scoring. They don't benefit for anything, but 6 OC that can move 24 inches is worth its weight in gold. 2 times Gun Scourge with 4 Dark Lance. And 1 times Carbine Scourge with a Shredder. And that, folks, is my Cabalite Cartel list. And I'll tell you, the damage output from this army is insane. It is table you insane. And I cannot wait to do a tournament and review. I'll be back, of course, on Tuesday with a tournament and review, and or Monday, depending how quickly I can edit it. But I just want to say thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. Of course, like the video if you've hung around in chat and you haven't liked it already. Make sure you leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think or what your New Year's resolution is or anything that you'd like to discuss. I'll be checking that. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, you can. And of course, share it with your friends. It means a lot. Now, this is, to reiterate, a video style, a bonus video that I do for patrons, usually every Friday, called The Weekly Show. And so if you like to see this on a more consistent basis, you like to participate, be able to post questions and lists, the best way to do that is through the Patreon. Of course, the Discord is open to anybody. You can join the Discord if you want. But I just want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me for the first stream of 2026. Means a lot. And thank you so much. Have a great day. I'll see you on the flip side. And I have been Skari, your grateful host, signing off until next time. Skari out. Ah, the Dark Kin. Bye, everybody.